Okay, it looks like most everybody was able to get on, so we'll go ahead and get started. As I go to this next slide, you guys should notice on your screen that you have a questions chat that you can post questions in. For now, maybe just post your name in the chapter you're with or chapter you're representing, or organization you're representing. I know not everybody is part of a chapter. So if you just want to put that in the chat to make sure that's working, my teammate Sarah Beth, who's on this next slide, is going to be co-hosting with me today, and she's going to be watching that questions chat. So as we go through everything, if you need me to go back over something or maybe you have an unrelated question, whatever it may be, you can throw those into the chat. Sarah Beth will be answering them. And then if it's something that can be shared with everybody, just like a general question, we'll go over it at the end because it's good for everybody to hear the answers. Or if it's something specific to your organization, then she'll just answer you there. It's not going to go out to everyone. It'll send privately, so that way we aren't sharing your chapter's personal information with the audience. And I do see some things going in the chat, so that is good that it's working. On our next slide, it's just going to give you a quick little blurb right here about a LegFi. It says, we believe dreaming big together fuels our growth. Dreams is like one of our biggest values. And Sarah Beth is going to give you a little bit more information about a LegFi as a whole before we go get into this webinar. So Sarah Beth, I'm passing it to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. So just to give a little bit background of a MegaFi provides software solutions and services that help nearly 40 national headquarters, their chapters and campus clubs and groups from more than 650 campuses, manage finances, streamline operations, recruit members, and enhance communication. We've helped our clients process 6.8 billion in dues, rent, fees, and more since our founding 30 plus years ago and boast a 9 out of 10 customer satisfaction score. And that is just a little bit about us.
Thank you, Sarah Beth. Okay, that was pretty quick. Now moving on to our agenda. This shouldn't be too long of a webinar today. Knock on wood for you guys' sake. But today's agenda is just going to be a LegFi walkthrough. So I'm going to walk through a few different tabs. I can see some of the names in here I recognize in this webinar. So some of you are familiar with LegFi. You've been in there for a while. And I do see some people who are newer to LegFi that I know just recently got set up. So we're going to go through the tabs. These are just good things to do at the beginning of every semester or every time maybe you're getting new members. So around this time of year when organizations are recruiting new members, or if you're a club, people are signing up for your club, all of that. So we're going to go through each of those things. After that, we'll do the Q&A. So if you want to submit a question in the chat, I can do it then. You can also, again, submit them throughout the webinar and Sarah Beth will be answering them. And then at the end, I just have one really quick reminder, and then I have contact info for LegFi. Now we have updated this, so you'll definitely want to stick to the end. It's a little bit simpler. We have one email that we'll want you guys to use. And again, I'll cover that at the end. So let me pause my screen while I switch over to LegFi so we can do this walkthrough, and then we'll go ahead and get started with today's webinar. All right. Okay. So the first thing I should do is probably zoom out. I have my screen super zoomed in, so that was probably a weird view. I think this is probably a little bit better. This is what most of you, I think, look at when you log into LegFi. Something I do want to point out, and you'll see it in this top corner, this is a test org. So for the most part, it's pretty normal. We have some treasury funds and things set up. The main thing you may notice is some of the members have funny names, and it's just because this is an account I'm borrowing from our friends in IT. I didn't want to delete any of their test members because I really don't know what they're doing over there, but they were kind enough to let me use this account. It has all of the new payables stuff set up, so it's just the easiest one to use for webinars. So if you see some weird names in the member list, that's why. It's just a test account, but everything I'm going to show you still applies to your chapter. So when you log in, the first thing you're going to see is this dashboard. And the first thing you're probably going to want to look at is this member section over here. This is just going to give you an overview of the total members you have, any new members, so within the last 12 months, and then the number of archived members. The reason this is important is because we look at this total count right here to bill you guys every month in LegFi. Just like a quick, I was going to say show of hands, but I can't see you. So if you want to just post in the chat, are you guys aware of how to see where your LegFi bill is coming out of? If not, I'll show you guys really quick. So again, this overview is going to be really important. And I'm not seeing anyone post that they are aware of that. So I'll just show you really quick. So if we're looking here, you have 20 members that this organization is going to be billed for. If we click this gear icon in the top corner and we go to billing, you're going to be able to see the subscription fee. So since this is a test account, we have it set up as $0 a year because it's not real, but y'all's accounts should have a dollar amount and it'll probably be per member. So if it was, let's say $1 per member, we had 20 members, you're going to get paid, or excuse me, charged $20 a month. And this would be the next billing date. So this one's a year out because it's on year billing, but yours is probably monthly. You'll be able to see that. And then down here, you're going to be able to see a history of all of those payments you've made to LegFi. Other things that'll show up down here, you can see on this test account, they tested overnight payments. So you get charged for that if you're using contracts. Any of those extra add-ons that you're doing will show up down here as well. But the main thing you guys will probably see is your subscription fee, which will base off of the number of members you have here. So if you log in and you're looking at this and you're thinking that number looks too high or too low, what you're going to do is go to the member roster right here, and you're going to want to start going through it. So if you're really good about updating your members, hopefully you are, you'll be able to use this filter. So a quick thing would do is like maybe at the end of the spring, all of your seniors that graduated or all of your members who are not returning to live in the house or graduated no longer in a club, whatever it is, maybe you mark them as alum. If we filtered this by alum, it will give us all of those names. So you can see these are all those like weird test things I was talking about. But it could be quick to see, okay, these are all of our alum. I checked the box right here. Actually, what you'll have to do is export it down here, and then you can email this to us, and then we'll archive these members and get them off your roster. So you aren't going to be able to archive them yourself. That's something we have to do on our end, but you can export this list of those alum that you no longer want on there by clicking this button. When you email it to us and say we no longer want these people on our roster, they graduated, we'll be able to go in here, check all these names, and archive them. Now, if it's people who, let's say, were new members, and you want to mark them as initiated members, you could use this filter, click new members, or you can check the names over here, check the box, and then if we do actions, we'll be able to edit their accounts and we can change their membership status. So we could edit them in mass and mark them all as initiated or all as alum and do it that way. That's going to help you clean up and keep this roster organized. The other thing I want to show you that's really going to be important at the beginning of the year is managing your groups. So as some of you may know, if you've been in LegFi, groups is like an easy way to filter all of your members and charge them, communicate with them. A lot of our features has a filter that will use this groups tool that you guys can create. So if we wanted to create a new group, we could say the group name is going to be maybe initiated. Did I spell that right? Initiated. Yes, members. And then I can select their name. So we'll say these members right here are all going to be our initiated members. We're going to click save. And now we can see that they're added to this list. What's going to make this a super useful tool when we go into invoices in just a second is I'll be able to select that initiated member group and I'll be able to charge them as a group. So if you are like a fraternity or sorority, a lot of times your initiated members are going to be charged differently than your new members. This will let you filter and charge your initiated members, maybe those annual national dues that you guys have to pay or international dues. You can see another group that's already pre-existing here is in-house members. So if you're a house corporation, you can easily use the filter of in-house members and charge all of those in-house members rent. You could have an out-of-house one, charge all of them parlor fees. It's just going to let you easily filter your members. But you will want to reset this again at the beginning of each semester. So if you have it filtered, but you haven't updated for the semester, when you go to invoice, it may not be up to date. And then you're going to be charging maybe last semester's or last year's in-house members instead of charging this year. So you want to make sure you're going through these, editing them. If you click this edit button, you can see who's listed. So maybe just a quick double check before you get into invoicing. Looking at these in-house members, I could say, yep, this is all correct. Or maybe for myself, I'm like, well, I moved out of the house, so let me subtract myself there. And then these three are the people who are still living in the house. Click Save Changes. And that way I know this filter is all set up and ready to go for all of the other features I'm going to show you guys. All right, so then moving down to invoices, I think this is probably arguably one of the most important things for all of you guys. I think it's why most of you guys are using LegFi, which is to collect money from your members. You can do this in a few different ways. So if you want to set up maybe an invoice just for the upcoming month, so maybe you want to pay like September dues, you want to set it up. You can do just one, and then the end of September, you'll go in there, create another one, do it for October, or you can set them up for the entire semester. It's whatever is going to be easiest for you guys. And then you'll be able to go down here and see all the outstanding ones. So since this is a test account, almost all of these are past due. No one's going to be logging in and giving a test account money. But when you scroll through here for you guys, if you want to do it for the whole semester, you're going to see past due. You'll see some with the status of current, and then you'll also see some that has a status of future. So if you wanted to do those for the entire semester, or if you're doing rent, you want to do it for the whole year and then not have to worry about setting it up again, you can go ahead and do that, and you'll be able to see all of it down here. So to set up the invoice, we're just going to click Create New Invoice. We can either charge all of our members. So if everybody's going to pay maybe $100 chapter dues, we could click Add All. Or if we wanted to just charge those initiated members, maybe those national dues I was mentioning, we could click Initiated Members up here, Add All. Now you can see it's just that filtered list. And then we're going to get on here and click Add Charge. And then we just fill in the blank. So we're going to do national dues. Probably would help if I spelled that right. We're going to do it as a one-time charge. If you wanted to do it recurring, you could select that and do it that way, and keep adding them. This would be a really good option for rent. So you could do, August rent, add initial charge. You could do September and keep going. But I'm just going to do this as a one-time charge since it's going to be national dues, and usually you pay that just once a year, once a semester. The amount is going to be $150, and we'll say this is for the 2024-2025 national dues. And then down here, you're going to be able to select which deposit account it goes into. So the way this is going to work is whenever the member goes in and pays this invoice on their account, this $150 minus the credit card processing fees or e-check fee that gets taken out of it, it's going to deposit directly into one of these accounts. So if you want it to go into your operating account, you would choose that. If you have an external bank account, it'll be shown up here. So be able to select that, choose the revenue category. Hopefully this one has a national dues. Maybe it doesn't. We'll just say member dues. These categories are editable, so you guys will be able to set whatever income revenue categories you would like in expense. So we're doing member dues, and then the active date will say people can start seeing it on their account today, and then they have a month to pay it, or maybe I want to give them actually, we'll give them a month and then we'll offer an early payment. So let's say $150 is the dues, but I want to give a little bit of cushion because we know there's always members who don't pay on time. So it's easier just to collect a little bit of extra money, and then maybe that'll offset the people who are late paying and then have that money available. But we could also offer an early payment discount. So we'll say the discount is $10, so they get that like cushion cut off if they pay maybe within the first week. So if they pay by next Tuesday, they don't have to pay that extra $10. A late fee, we're gonna say this is pretty serious since it's national dues. I'm gonna charge them maybe like we'll say like $25 late fee instead of like a normal $10 late fee. And we're going to charge that maybe the day after it's due. So I'm not really giving them a grace period. I'm like, I need this money by the stakes. We have to pay our headquarters to remain in good standing. So I put that in. I can click Save Charge. And then now if I'm done, I can either send this to them, or if I want to add different charges, I can go ahead and do that now as well. If you want to see what these invoices are going to look like for your members, you can click this preview button and you'll be able to see a sample of the email they get, as well as anyone on their auxiliary email. So if their parent is one of their auxiliary emails, this can go to them as well, so their parent could pay on their account. And you can see the charge up here, national dues, super transparent for them. If they want that early payment discount, you can see right now it's applied, so it's $150, and that ends on the 3rd. And then you can also see down here, if they don't pay by this date, they're going to get a $25 late fee. So it outlines it for them. There's no questions if they are going to get late fees or early payment discounts. There's no, I didn't know that. It's all outlined here for them. And then they'll have two options. They can either sign in and pay. So if they want to set up auto pay, they can do that, or they can continue as a guest and do a credit card payment. This is probably really popular if anyone has parents helping them pay. Their parents don't have to log into their child's account. They can just click continue as guest, pay this invoice, and be done with it. No headache. So that's how you'll be able to do those invoices. Again, you'll click send invoice and it'll go and be added to all of their accounts. You can see it's processing, so it's not quite showing up yet, but it said in that note that it'll be in a couple minutes and then you'll be able to see it down here. All right. Any questions on that before I move down to financial accounts? I don't think I
I think we're good
see
on
any.
questions right now, Hannah.
Okay, perfect. So going down to financial accounts, everybody in this webinar has at least one account. So it's either an external bank account or a treasury account. That was a requirement to set up your account. So I know you guys have at least one listed, but you do have the option to add more. So if you guys have two different checking accounts you'd like to link, you can add that external bank account down here. Or if you want to use treasury accounts, you will be able to use other features in LegFi like payables. So I really recommend using it. You have an unlimited number of treasury accounts you can sign up for. We do not charge you for opening the account. And then you can have money directly deposited into it. So if maybe you wanted to make an events treasury fund, name it events, then every time you charge members for an event, that money is going to deposit directly into the events one. You can also click actions here and click treasury cards, and you can link either virtual or physical like debit cards to these accounts, and those will be able to be managed by you. So if we wanted to add a card holder, we can see it's going to be linked to this operating account. We're going to choose a member. I'm going to give it to Sarah Cordell. And then we can choose the card type. So if this was like a one-time purchase I needed her to make on like Amazon or something, I'd probably just give her a virtual card because she's just going to be typing in her card information on Amazon. But if she's going to be an officer who's really going to be needing money from this account, so maybe the operating account is, again, what we do events for, and Sarah is in charge of all of our events, I'm going to have her sent a physical card. She'll still be able to use it virtually. She can add it to her Apple Pay or her Google Pay, any of those, like your virtual wallets, you can add these to. And then we'll choose the shipping. So we'll do standard shipping for her. It's not rushed. We don't want to pay that extra fee. And then I can give her a spending limit. So if I don't want her to spend more than $500 daily, we can do it that way. But I can also change the amount. So maybe Sarah's budget for this semester for all the events is like $10,000, which for some organizations would be really low and others that'd be really high, but we'll just say $10,000 because it's an easy number. And I'm going to give her an all-time budget of that. So once she spends $10,000, she's not going to be able to access any more money in the operating fund beyond that. If, maybe oh, I went over it. Let me go under one more. Okay, we'll do $9,999.99. So she just lost out on a penny. Okay, so we have that amount there. If she ended up spending that amount and then needed more, I'm sure the chapter could vote or the organization could say, yeah, we agree. We actually are going to give her more budget. We're going to expand our budget. And then you could go in and edit the card and, give her additional money she can spend on it. Or again, you could just hold tight to this budget. And so once she reaches that amount, there's no more money for her to be able to spend. So once we go through this, setting it up, we're going to click agree, and then you're going to click next. Now, I'm not going to do it on this test account because this is an account like in production. So if I send this, it is going to order a card, and I really don't want to do that. So I'm going to click cancel, but what you guys would do is click next. And then what would happen is it's going to email Sarah. So since I'm the person adding the card, and you can see I'm in my account, Hannah, it's going to email her. If I was setting up a card for myself, I'd be able to fill out the card information here and get it verified. But since it's not for me, it's going to email Sarah. She'll click the link, and then she'll be able to apply for her card. Any questions on treasury accounts or cards before I move on? If not, we're moving through this pretty easy, which is good. Okay, good. The only other thing I'm going to point out with cards, which I should have done it when I'm already on this page, we don't have an example of cards set up on this account, but let's say we had a card listed for Heather McLeod and she was an old officer, no longer an officer, you will be able to click a box or a button under this actions thing and cancel her card. So that's one more thing you're going to do at the beginning of this semester is make sure you go through, if you already have treasury cards, go through and cancel all of those old officer cards. I don't think most people are going to steal money from your chapter, but just for the sake of security, since it is your chapter's money and y'all's bank accounts, make sure you cancel those cards for any old officers. Moving down to payables now. This is going to, again, only be applicable to people who have treasury accounts. This is one of our newest features. So we launched it, I think, this spring or early this summer. I can't remember the exact date now. I feel like the summer has flown by. But this is a bill pay service we now offer through LegFi. No additional charge. You guys pay it in your subscription fee. So this is available to you as long as you have those treasury accounts set up under financial accounts. And you can really get your chapter a lot of like data and information saved in here so you guys can manage and have a history of all of those invoices your chapter's paying. So if you guys know maybe events you're having for the semester, I don't know if some of you guys do like tailgates, or maybe you have like a welcome back to the house or welcome back to school thing for all of your members living in the house, whatever it may be. Maybe you're planning those events. What you can do is go to this payees section, add payees. These are your vendors, and you'll be able to add all of those vendors you're going to be paying for this upcoming event or throughout this semester. And then what you can do is once you add the payees, you can add bills. So we can click this add bill button. We'll select the payee from this drop down. Let's say had in cleaning services. So maybe we're setting up our bills for the cleaning services for the house for the semester. We could say the invoice date. So I don't know what it's going to be. You guys would have the invoice probably mailed or emailed to you. But let's say the invoice that I received had an invoice date of today, and then it was due maybe a month from now, so they have till the 27th to pay it. You can fill all this information in. You can put the invoice number that's on your invoice. I guess that's kind of a given invoice number on your invoice. And you can also itemize it. So if you're looking at that invoice and it's saying maybe you have, you know, the cleaning service for the month is going to be $500, and then there's maybe like a $10 online payment fee, whatever it is, you can itemize it here as well. So maybe the $500 is for like this house and grounds, we'll say create line item. And then there's an additional $10 fee because we're going to be making an online payment. We're going to set it up that way. So maybe there's, I don't know if there's some of these bank, oh, I didn't mean to click Brotherhood, bank fees. You can itemize it so that way your expenses can be a little more particular in your reporting if that's how you want to do it. Or you could just, you know, lump this together and say 510 is all considered a house and grounds fee. However you want to do it, you can itemize it. Down here, you can attach the actual invoice you have emailed or mailed to you. So if you have it mailed, you can take a picture, scan it, upload it here. If it's emailed, you again can download it and then save it. And then you'll create the bill. And you can see it was added. Once that bill is added, we can see all of the information here. We can edit it, delete it, anything. And if we're ready to pay it, so let's say we have the money available. This trust account doesn't have the money available, but let's say we did. We could click add payment, and we're going to pay the thing in full. We want to pay it maybe today, we'll say, and then we would choose the account that has the money. Now, none of these accounts have the money for it, so I'm not going to be able to click save, but let's say the operating account had that. We can choose to either mail a check or do payee's choice. If it mails a check, it's going to email a physical check. Payee's choice, this cleaning service could choose to get an e-check payment. So if we do payee's choice, it's going to mail, or not mail, excuse me, it's going to email them and say, how would you like to receive this payment? They'll choose the e-check option, and then they'll put in their account information. So we know where to deposit that money for them to make your payment. So we could do payee's choice, click add payment, and it would save, and then you'd be able to see it down here. Let me try doing it with a smaller amount just to show you what that would look like. So we could click add payment, and it's going to create the payment, and then you'll see it down here as unapproved. So now there's a payment attached. If we're on our dashboard, it's going to load for a second. We'll be able to see it up here pending approval. Now, the reason I can't approve it is because I set it up, and the way we have this test account set up is it needs 2 approvals. Your chapter can choose however you want to set it up. So maybe it only would need the one. Me adding that would be enough to approve it. But if your account's set up to have 2 approvals, what's going to have to happen is another officer who has access to this tab will have to go in. There'll be a little checkbox here for them to click. Once it's approved, that payment will get either mailed out physical check or that e-check payment. So it'll deposit directly into your vendor's accounts. So I recommend going in, setting up all those payments for the semester that you guys know that you'll have. And then that's just an easy way to manage it. You'll be able to see the history. You can always go to your payees and see a history of what's all in the account. So I think there's, like, for example, this LegFi Electric. You can see everything that's been attached to this account. So it's a really nice way to keep history of your chapters. expenses beyond just seeing, when you go to budget, seeing like where you guys have spent money. It'll show you an actual like breakdown in your invoices. You'll have all of that history for you guys. All right, and then the only other thing I wanted to show you guys today, just setting up for this semester, is your crowdfunding stuff. So if you guys have a fundraiser constantly going on, like this test account, we always have an alumni donation form. This will be set up, but maybe you have a new semester fundraiser you guys want to set up. So maybe for the next till December, you want to raise money for your philanthropy. You can click the new fundraiser button here, and it'll let you fill in all of these blanks to create a fundraiser. Now, I'm not going to go through that on this webinar because I think it would be a little lengthy considering we went over other things, but I will say next month's webinar we'll be sending you guys an invite to is all about crowdfunding and setting that up. So we're going to walk through creating an event, adding t-shirts for it, paying vendors, all of that. So if you want more in-depth on how to do this, definitely join us next month, but just make sure for the time being, if you do know how to use this feature already, you can go ahead and click create new invoice. It's really kind of foolproof. You just fill in the blanks, and this little star here just notates if it's a required field. I think that's pretty standard across like most websites. So nothing too crazy for you guys to have to try to figure out. But if you did want that extra help, definitely join us next month. So you want to go in, fill all this out, click create event, and then make sure you have those events for the semester. Also, if you guys are doing things like a back to school t-shirt, you're going to add it under merchandise. So here I have this little Columbus tank top because we're in Columbus, Georgia. So that's what I added. You can see it's out of stock, but if I wanted to edit it, I could say, maybe we have 5 of each size left. So the members can go in um, and purchase this tank top. So when your members log into the account, they'll have access to this crowdfunding tab. They can't edit, delete, or add products, but they will be able to see what you have posted. So they can log into their LegFi account, say, ooh, I like this tank top. Go ahead, choose their size, which want one of them, and they can click buy, and then they'll be able to fill in their card information and buy it. So you can see if we click this, payment type, they would choose new credit card. They'll be able to put all their information in, click pay, and that money is going to go directly into y'all's either bank account or treasury account, whatever you have set up. You also could kind of do this like a pre-order if you really wanted. So if maybe you edited these amounts to like super high numbers, people could sign up and pay, and then that way you guys know what to order. You could do it that way as well. Any questions on that?
I think we are good, Hannah.
Okay, perfect. That is all I have for your back to school little checklist to go through. But let me go ahead and switch back to our PowerPoint just to cover those reminders I have. So give me 1 second. Okay, so this is my only reminder. 990 filing reminders. So if your chapter is tax exempt and you file 990s, if you have a fiscal year end of 6/30, it is going to be due November 15th. And if your fiscal year end is 7/31, it's due December 15th. Now with LegFi, it's not a full service within LegFi, but you guys will probably notice down here we do have file 990. So if your chapter does a 990N or 990EZ, you can click this Get Started button. It'll take you over here, and then you can start going through these steps. Again, this is going to be fill in the blank, so we've made it pretty easy for you guys. You'll be able to put your first name in if you're the officer who handles the 990 filing for your chapter, your last name. Click Get Started Now, and it's going to walk you through filing your Form 990N or 990EZ. You don't have to do this. It's not like a required thing, but it is available. And I just wanted to point it out since it is here on LegFi for you guys to use if you would like to. If not, it's still a helpful reminder for you guys to file those. You can go ahead and use your accountants if you have them or whatever process you already have set up for 990s. Don't feel like you have to change anything just because you're in LegFi. That is just available for you guys if you would like it. And then the last thing I want to show you is this contact information. We've consolidated our emails down to one just to make it easier to remember. So there's no longer separate login support emails and LegFi emails or anything like that. If you have any question on LegFi, if you're having a problem with your account, if you don't know how to log in, any of those things, you're just going to email software support at omegafy.com. I will say if you've recently sent an email to one of those other email addresses that we had, we'll still be getting those. We didn't like completely delete them, so don't worry, your request will still be seen. But going forward, the fastest way for you guys to get a response is just going to be emailing software support at omegafy.com. Or if you would like to maybe not have to email or go back and forth with someone, you can also use the Get Help tool in LegFi. So if you click this little question mark button here, it's going to take you to the LegFi Help Center. We're always adding articles to it. Let me zoom out again. I have this so zoomed in. We're always adding articles. We upload all of our webinars. So you'll be able to see old videos and webinars here, including this one that we're on right now, and be able to click through here, or you can just search. So if you wanted maybe an issue, or not an issue, a question on like an event, you could say, how do I set up fundraisers and events in LegFi? You can go here and then there's going to be a walkthrough for you guys to watch. Or some of our other ones aren't videos, they're just regular articles. So you can click in here and it's just going to be words for you guys to read, scroll through. We have screenshots. So it's super easy to follow. You can get all your questions answered. You can also use the support button right here. And this is the same information as this help center right here, but you can search it without having to leave LegFi. So again, I could just type in event and it's going to give us those same things. If I click this, you can see it's that article I just showed you. So you'll be able to watch it in here and not have to leave the LegFi app or desktop website or whatever you want to call this. It'll all be right here for you. And if you still have a question, you can easily click this contact us button. And then you'll just fill in what you need help with. So maybe it was a login question, you'll put in your information, and then it's going to send that straight to our support team, that software support team, and they will send you an email response to answer your question. So those are all the ways you can get in touch with us. I will go back to this PowerPoint real quick so you can check out this email one more time. You guys probably have this. It's not a new email. We've just again, consolidated to make it easier for you guys. So that is the email. And if there's no questions, I will be able to let you guys go. 35 minutes isn't too bad. I feel like sometimes these webinars get long. So hopefully this is helpful and to the point. And then we will be sending you guys an email for an invitation in next month's webinar. It's going to be a little bit more interactive. So if you want to give your 2 cents on setting up, you know, like an event or a fundraiser, I will be interacting more so you guys can put in your request for the type of event we do, stuff like that. So definitely join us for that one. I think it'll be fun. But for the rest of, or I guess for today, that is everything. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.